slate absolutely sucks. It's garbage. And we're going to try and break it down tonight here at WinDailySports.com on the NBA DFS Pre-Lock live stream. This is all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.app. Find all the ways you can download the Sharp app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and use it. Maybe to find some bets for tonight. Maybe to find some bets also in the NFL. We got a couple games going on right now. We have the Browns and Raiders. But, Ghost, this slate obviously isn't fun. We were talking earlier before we went on. Did I hear you are playing little to almost none of this slate tonight?
Yeah, it's gross. Like, guys are signing 10-day contracts. They just need 8 guys that are not sick on the court. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's just they're putting bodies out there. I was watching the Lakers game. I was like, I don't even know who this is. Like, I genuinely don't. Russ was at the free throw line, and I was like, I don't know who just checked in. Who is that? I have no, like,
because of what's going on. Obviously, we have a lot of COVID cases, but also injuries plus COVID cases. If let's just say they weren't allowed to have 10-day contracts to sign guys this easily, there would be teams that couldn't field a team right now. Could not put a team on the court enough.
The Nets had 6 guys as part of their normal roster the other night.
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
They had to sign Langston Galloway, and they had someone as an emergency draft. Like they had 7 guys play, and Langston Galloway played 4 minutes. Like that's what it is.
It's horrible, man. And a lot of guys are also playing. The healthy guys are playing a lot of minutes, and that's obviously takes its toll eventually. And
yeah, so Kevin Durant's playing 46 minutes a game.
Right, which he's not going to be able to sustain that, and there's going to be an effect to it, obviously. So we're seeing all of this. So I think the first thing we need to start out with, Ghost, you are playing little to none in this slate.
That's correct.
Awesome. So that is our first warning of this slate stinks. This slate stinks. This slate stinks. So now that we got that out of the way, if we were to play this slate, where are we starting? Because as I just mentioned at the top, we have a lot of injuries. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard, of course, but Levine is also out, and Tatum questionable, Paul George questionable, Joel Embiid questionable, meaning that, like, if you're going to play it, you got to play Steph Curry.
Yeah, you need to start your lineup with one of Steph Curry or DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
And then, no, not both. I can't.
Not both.
No, I can't sign off on that just because a lot of guys are ridiculously priced now because they're putting up 30 to 40 DK when it usually takes them all season to put that up because they're playing 38 minutes a game. So, yeah, you got to play one of Steph or DeJounte. The Warriors are without both Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins amongst like 17 other guys. So, playing Steph Curry against Sacramento is certainly enticing. And then you got to run it back with at least 2 Sacramento Kings. If anyone's been playing NBA DFS in the last week, you've known that Sacramento has been the highest rostered team in general. Not just one guy. It's not 2 guys. It's like all 6 of them because they're essentially down to 5 guys that are a normal part of their rotation. So you got to roster at least 2 Sacramento Kings. Not playing Tyrese Halliburton makes absolutely no sense on this slate. You have to play Tyrese Halliburton. And then you play one of Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson, Damian Jones, Harrison Barnes. You got to; those are pretty much the only guys that they have left. and Medu. That's it. That's pretty much the only. Those are like the 6 guys that are part of this rotation. So you need to play at least 2 Kings. One of them being Tyrese Halliburton, and then you play one of Steph Curry or DeJounte Murray.
Love it. All right, let's go real quick each game, and you just give me a few players from the player pool. We don't have to build lineups or anything because, again, Ghost is not playing this. If everybody knows, warning, Ghost is not playing this. This is that bad. This is an ugly, downright terrible slate, and it's really hard to try and get a read on it. So let's just go through every game real quick so we can at least get an idea of what your player pool is. Let's start off with this Philly-Boston game real quick.
I thought this game would get canceled, to be honest with you.
I thought it was going to as well. So
I think there's still a chance that it does, but Philly just keeps signing guys to play this game. I don't know. It's just
Tyler Jackson, I think, was just signed, something like that. I don't know. Do
Like,
we know who that is?
bro, Canadian legend Nick Stauskas just signed with the Raptors. It's like, oh my god, like it's just CJ Miles hasn't been in the league for like who knows how many years, and he just signed with Boston. Like Boston's entire roster has COVID, so if Tatum doesn't play, I guess you could play Jaylen Brown. But again, he was out for such a long time that he was on a minutes limit forever.
Yep.
So that's the only thing there. Yeah, we'll get to that Chicago game. Javonte Green's a stone cold lock. Yeah, if Tatum's out, you can play Jaylen Brown, I guess. But again, the minutes limit, but he doesn't really have a choice but to play a ton of minutes in this game.
Yeah, that's
so,
the thing. Like he may get the minutes too, but what's the quality going to be like?
That's the thing, right? So way too many Q tags and COVID cases in this game for me. You need clarity on Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum before I talk about this game. But yeah,
this
if
is
Tatum's
one.
out,
Look,
you play Jaylen Brown.
We can go over these games, and if you have no players, let me know. But yeah, this is one that this would be really tough to find anything.
Too much.
Yep.
Yeah, this first game is way too much. Maxi's Q, Schroeder's Q, Josh Richardson's in and out of protocols. Tatum, we don't know if he's going to play. We don't know if Embiid's playing. Milton's out. Cork is out.
Do the Sixers have anyone that can handle the ball? Anyone that can handle the ball?
No.
Nobody.
They don't have.
Seth Curry's their best ball handler as of
yeah.
now,
They don't.
With
They don't have
questionable.
They don't have a primary ball handler on the roster right now.
All right, moving on.
Like Paul Reed might play point guard tonight. I don't know. It's that bad. Like that just describes his slate.
Chicago.
This one's a bit better. A little bit better, I guess.
I like a little bit better.
Chicago was off for 8 or 9 days, and now they're playing a back-to-back. Kudos to the NBA for figuring out that one, how to bring them back on a back-to-back after missing a week plus. But anyways, you need to play the Javonte Green tonight. Same level of lock status as Tyrese Halliburton. Nowhere near the same quality of player, but he's 3,100 and he's going to play 38 minutes tonight.
Yep.
That's all I need to tell you. If Aaron Brooks doesn't play for Houston, I really like Josh Christopher again, who grades out well for me. And the last time I said that, he put up 40 DK at minimum price. So I do like Josh Christopher. And then if you want to play DeMar DeRozan or Vooch or Alonzo, I won't say no, but keep in mind that they're on the second half of their back-to-back, and this game can blow out where you might see Chicago start dipping into their bench a bit more. You might see, like, again, all these guys have to play significant minutes, but it's not like DeRozan has to go out there and play 45 minutes like KD style, right? So they're still playing the Rockets. They can easily win this game by double digits. And as crazy as it sounds, 34 minutes of DeMar DeRozan is not enough tonight because there are going to be players that play 45 minutes. So that's where it's, if you think this game stays close, then you can play one of DeRozan, Vooch, or Alonzo. You could play Caruso. You could play Kobe White. I prefer not to play Kobe White. He looked awful since his serious ankle injury, and now he's come back, and he just looks terrible. Yeah, for me, it's pretty much Josh Christopher. And if I'm playing any Chicago Bull tonight, if you think that game stays close, it's DeMar DeRozan, and that's about it.
All right, moving on to Oklahoma City, Memphis. Maybe a couple good plays in this one.
Yeah, Ja popped up Q here, so I don't know if Ja's going to play tonight. If he does, that kind of takes me off the Memphis side a lot more than I'm on right now, which is why I put them as the honorable mention game.
Haven't provided much in way of updates. So
yeah, like it's just because
the only update we know is he's questionable.
Right, like he had that sprained knee, right? And then like literally a week after that, they were like, hey, we don't know if it's going to be 4 weeks or 4 months or 4 years. Like we have no idea what's going on with his knee injury. And I was like, I don't know how you don't know. But anyways, and then he landed in COVID protocols. And then now all of a sudden he's randomly questionable to play tonight. So if he does play, that kind of takes me off the Memphis side a little bit because while, yes, they're going to ease him back in, they don't need Ja to play 38 minutes to beat OKC. Yeah. And they're certainly not going to risk their franchise player in the middle of a, like right before Christmas Day and random game in December where the whole league's in health and safety protocols. Like this game means nothing to anybody right now. So it's enough. Like even if it's 20 to 25 minutes, that's enough for me to not want to play Dylan Brooks or any of the other guys. But if you if Jean Moran ends up being out, or if you're not worried about him getting significant minutes, meaning like anything more than 15, because again, 15 minutes is enough to do damage to the other guys there. If you don't think Ja does anything in this game at all, and he's just basically using it as a cardio session, then you do need to play Dylan Brooks tonight. He's going to hoist up 25 shots against Oklahoma City, who he has a way longer wingspan than Josh Giddey, who's going to line up against him. So I do like Brooks in this spot. Outside of that, nothing I'm really touching. If you think this game stays close, you could certainly stack it with like a little 1-2 action going on the flip side of the ball. You could go SGA or Giddey, but 7,200 for Giddey for me is just way too expensive.
All right, moving on to Utah and Charlotte.
This is one that I usually attack Charlotte games, but it's a little spicy. Charlotte's really dipping into their rotation now because they were the first team that got hit really bad with the Chicago Bulls, and all these guys played 45 minutes a game for like a week straight, and it wasn't too long ago, right? So they're trying to get their guys to recover a little bit, and Charlotte going up against Utah, it's a recipe for disaster for them. I'm not paying up for Spida or LaMelo. Rudy Gobert can probably drop 20 points and 30 rebounds with like 17 blocks if he wanted to. But the key of that sentence being that if he wanted to, and at 9,200, I'm not willing to risk that. With Gordon Hayward out, I don't mind Terry Rozier on Fanduel as a GPP play. I think that's pretty much where I stop there. Yeah, that's about it. You can't really flirt with guys like Clarkson, et cetera, on a slate like this because there's going to be guys that play 45 minutes, so you can't really rely on that.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. All right, so moving on very quickly to Golden State and Sacramento. Obviously, you mentioned the Sacramento side, and we have Steph Curry. Honestly, have we gone over this game enough? I think you probably.
Yeah, the only other thing that I want to point out is that with Wiggins and Poole out, you can play a value slot here with Steph Curry. I'm not completely opposed to that. Gary Payton II and Damian Lee are both going to get a ton of minutes tonight with both Wiggins and Poole out. And then you're likely going to see a little bit of JTA, Porter, and Iguodala on the wing to compensate for Wiggins at the 3 there. So if you want to play either like Lee or Payton is kind of where I lean, because with Porter, JTA, and Iguodala, it really depends on Iguodala's conditioning and whether Porter wants to decide to hit a shot tonight or not there. So with Damian Lee and Gary Payton, you're likely relatively safer on that side.
All right, last game now. Told you we're going through this quick. Clippers and San Antonio.
This is where I would invest because of the fact that everybody's out with health and safety protocols. Like you can't risk somebody being out or any because they're still getting tested, right up until tip off. They're still getting tested. True. So like people are not going to want to risk somebody that's possibly getting late scratched or anything like that. And then that's exactly where I would want to go because this is the game that could potentially blow up the slate. And if Paul George plays, he's likely going to lead the slate in scoring.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying build your lineups with him, but just keep that in mind where if you can potentially make a pivot scenario. I love Ivica Zubac at the center position today. He grades out extremely well for me, and Hartenstein's out. So they don't really have a choice but to play him at the 5 because Nick Batum has the conditioning of a koala. So no Marcus Morris either to play the 5. Like they're really down some significant bodies in their front court. So Zub it's one of these rare occasions where Zub is likely going to get 30 minutes tonight. So 30 minutes of Ivica Zubac is extremely productive. Although it's rare, it's very productive at only 4,900. And I already talked about DeJounte Murray. You could play one of Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, or Reggie Jackson. I'm okay with that also. And then on the Spurs side of thing, Doug McDermott kind of messed things up a little bit here, being upgraded to probable. I wouldn't have minded playing one of Lonnie Walker or Devin Vassell, but with McDermott in, kind of worries me a little bit there. So I'm probably going DeJounte with one, if not two Clippers, one of them being Ivica Zubac, and then the second one being one of Terrence Mann or Reggie Jackson or Luke Kennard. Kennard's a little expensive, though, so I'm probably going Terrence Mann or Reggie Jackson.
All right. So here's one lineup if you want to go through it. Again, we're not playing
Yeah, it's
tonight.
very strong. That's very strong.
Okay. Nice.
I like that.
So Steph, Christopher, Javante, Porter, Zubac, Murray, Hield, Halliburton.
Yeah.
And then also Ivan with the question about points. DeJounte Murray had 18.5.
I didn't go with his points prop. I took his over rebounds plus assists prop and his points, rebounds, and assists prop. I took both of those.
Boom.
So I don't really have a lean on the points just because my model shows that it's priced accordingly. So I went with the rebounds and assists prop, which have been hitting at a ridiculous rate this season, and I just keep going back to them. And I also took his points, rebounds, assists prop because he's gonna flirt with a triple double again tonight.
All right, that is gonna do it for us. Short one. We started off by saying the slate stinks, and we're not playing it, but hopefully at least we guided you in the direction of some plays that you do want. WinDailySports.com is where you can find everything there, the optimizer, projection model. So go sign up if you haven't yet. Also, you can check out the Sharp app. This is all sponsored by the Sharp app. Sharp.app is where you can go to find out more. Go to the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, wherever you get your apps. That is it for us. Ghost, follow me at DFS_Ghost, me at Jon Jansen 34. We'll be back tomorrow with hopefully a much better NBA slate. Can't make any promises, though, here at WinDailySports.com.